Hello. In this video I want to talk about the Alteryx Browse tool. So I've got a standard module here. It's got a browse tool attached to it. It's just a module I took out the sample data sets. So the first thing to notice is that no data is available within the browse tool. That's because I need to run a module to populate a browse tool before I can use it. So let's go ahead and run this module. So click on the play button. That's gone through. This is a very quick running module. And I've populated the browse tool now with the full data set that was available at this point. So it's showing all 1,500 rows, as we can see from the icon from the text just here. We've also got 10 fields, and that's taking up 70 kilobytes of room. Now, something really important to realize about the browse tool when we're using Alteryx is that this data is going to be written out to the hard drive. Every browse tool that we get is going to create a temporary file on a hard drive. Yes, it will be cleared when Alteryx is closed, but that data is an overhead as we run modules. So the more browse tools we have created around the module, the more data Alteryx has got to write out, the more drive space it's going to take up. So just be aware of that as you're creating modules. The best practice I can recommend is to clear browse tools as you go and only leave them in the necessary places. Obviously less important for smaller modules with small records. More important when you're talking, 10 million records or so. It's going to take up a lot of room on your drive. So the browse tool. Let's get into some details. What can we do? Well, first thing to notice is that within the icons just here is the different views I can get. So if I'm moving across records, I can use the left-right view. These views now work independently, so I can compare different rows with each other. Perhaps more usefully, I can do that top-bottom, so I can compare entire rows with each other. Compare different rows. Let me switch back to the main view. I can also double click to open up the cell viewer, which will allow me to see the text within here. As you can see, it's cut off a little bit in here, but the full text is in here. So I could open that up, but sometimes we've got large text amounts of data in here. It's very easy to double click on it and see what's going on within the data set and get some information. White space will be available by default, so it's telling us where the spaces are in this data and where any carriage returns are. If I want to copy the data out, I'd recommend you turn that off and then copy it, save copy in those markers. So that's very useful. The other thing that's very useful is the ability from this module, let me just close this cell viewer, is the ability to, from this module, save directly out of this browse tool without the need to attach an output tool and rerun the data. So if I come into this save, I can save all records, save it to a database, I can save it to a browse. I can save the selected cells. So if I just want to save these 5 cells, I can just come in here, save those to an Excel sheet, maybe to check out later or something like that, or back to a database. Ditto, I can also save records to the clipboard using the copy function. So copy all records with headers, all records without headers, or the selected cells again. So let's say I want to do the selected cells with headers. I'm going to copy that to the clipboard, and one thing you may not have realized is that now I've got this in the clipboard, I can right click and paste that onto the canvas and bring that data in as a text input tool directly into my canvas, which can be really useful if I'm wanting to do something particular with that data or use it for filtering later on, something like that. Last thing I wanted to go through on this particular browse tool is the new window. I can open this up. Now an independent window that I can move around, perhaps select a different browse tool over here and compare the contents. This one hasn't changed, but this one has. I can keep going if I want, opening up new windows just to compare the different types, different browse tools if I need to. So this is a data view. Now I want to show you what happens if we've got spatial data within our data set. So this is an example. I'll just come to the table view, and as you can see, I've got a spatial object type which has enabled this map view. Alteryx has detected that we're using spatial data within our view. If I double click on these types, then I get information about that polygon, so the centroid, number of parts, the area, the length, etc. I also enable the map view. I've got the cloud made map turned on by default, so that's going to give me a background layer underneath this data set that puts it in context of surrounding places and names. So these are the different polygons. I can zoom in to particular polygons, so if I want to see where Chesterfield is, come back to the map and click on the zoom to selection button. That's going to zoom me right in there to that particular polygon, and I can see that in context with the surrounding area. I can zoom out, zoom in, zoom back to my home view, the full view, taking in all the data. Can also pan using the pan button just to pan around and look at the surrounding area. If you've got other map views, they'll be available in here, or I can switch to the no base map where there'll be no background information. Again, I can copy this image or save this image if I want to. The other type of view, as well as the spatial data type, is the report view. We often use that when we're using predictive modules or creating reporting data. So in this case, I've got a browse tool. It's connected to a predictive module, which has got the R output showing it's a report. And that's created me this data set, which has got the report data type. Now, this is just HTML underneath, not much use, but my report tab has popped up, which enables me to view that directly in the browse tool, giving me a quick view of the output of the module and telling me this summary report. So I could quickly then use a render to output this if I wanted back to PDF or something. But this is a really quick way I find of just viewing those reports and using them directly in the browse tool. So several features of the browse tool, some of which you may not have realized before. Hope that's been useful, and I look forward to giving you more tips in future videos.